Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Miss Crochet and Coffee here, and today we're doing our whip and chat, so get out whatever it is you're working on and work along with me. I am still working on Never Seen Alaska from DIY Moon Shop and their candy collection. It will be done here soon. I really want to work on that new painting I got neon, so yeah, this will be done soon, don't worry. So yeah, I've been crazy busy with videos and sick dog and everything else. So let's get to the first thing before we get started. Let's give you an update on Killian. Killian is doing a lot better today. Okay, what happened? Friday night after live, I'm sitting here minding my own crafty business. I went into diamond painting with Ruby Q's live. Now, I haven't been able to make a whole lot of lives lately because with homeschooling and everything else, I'm too tired, y'all. I'm too tired. It's too much. So I haven't made it to a whole lot of lives, so when I saw she went live right after me, I was like, all right, bet, I'm going into this live because I haven't been in a live in so long. And this was, I guess, her first live. So I was like, sweet, I'm going to go into her live and show a little support, y'all mean. And I wasn't tired yet, so I was like, you know, whatever. I was like, but I do need to give Killian his medication. So I went over, I turned her on, I went and gave Killian his medication. Next thing I know, she's telling us ghost stories. And I don't mind ghost stories. But when it comes to like scary movies and stuff, nah. What's the scariest movie you've ever seen? Write that down in the comments. So for me, one of the scariest, I've never even finished the freaking movie, okay? If you remember the movie The Ring with Haley Joel Osment, I think is his name, and Bruce Willis. Yeah, I got to the part where the lady was sitting in the closet with her mouth all weird and warped out. And that's the last of that part of that movie I've ever seen. I don't do scary movies. I love Halloween. Hate scary movies. Now, if you're talking about like Friday the 13th or Child's Play, I'm all about that life. But anything else, nah. I've seen the first Saw and I was like, I wish I hadn't saw this. So she was telling us ghost stories from Hawaii. Because of course, if you didn't know, she's in Hawaii. And I guess her husband is stationed there. So I'm sitting there and, you know, I give Killian his meds. I come sit back down. It's like 10 minutes later, and I look over, and Killian's getting sick on the carpet. Now, when the dogs get sick, I usually either do one of two things. I will rush them outside to the porch, to like the balcony area, so that I can then like just rinse off the porch. Or I rush them onto the hardwood floor, because it's easier to clean off hardwood than it is carpet. So like, I almost Incredible Hulk my table trying to get to him, because I see him getting ready to get sick. I essentially I like flip my table over to jump over it to go get to him so I can try to rush him to the hardwood. Yeah, I didn't get there fast enough. I tripped and fell and he ended up getting sick right in front of me. I'm like, oh God. So Mr. Coffee gets up and he goes, what happened? I'm like, dude, he just got sick all over the floor. And he's like, well, I see that. So then he takes Killian outside and Killian goes to the bathroom. And then that's the other time we realized something was wrong. Now, most time when you have a male dog, they will mark their territory. They will mark like trees and fire hydrants and grass and whatever. Killian wasn't marking. He was just straight up peeing. Like, it was like, and it was uncomfortable. Like, okay, how do I explain this? Now, go with me. This is going to be a tangent. It's uncomfortable because he would pee for a long period of time. Like, it was like 3 minutes long. He would sit there and just pee. And then he'd just be like, he had this look of distress on his face. And I'm like, I think if I had to pee for 3 minutes, I'd be distressed too. And he just, I don't know, it was just really awkward because, and I tell Mr. Coffee, I'm like, it's so awkward taking him out to the bathroom because he just pees for so long. And I'm like, what is wrong with him? Now, this is day 3 of his new medication that he was on. We found out that Killian has a zinc deficiency, which is something that I guess is common in Huskies. So if you are someone who has a Siberian Husky, just know, make sure that their food is rich in zinc. I think I said iron. It's zinc. Because apparently zinc deficiency is very common in Huskies, which I didn't realize. So I was just like, okay, we're on day 3 of the meds. We decrease his antibiotic tomorrow. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe he just ate too fast, whatever. Then all of a sudden, as I'm standing there, when I was getting his cream and stuff to put on his face for his nose and stuff, he's sitting next to me. And this is after I cleaned up his mess and everything and Mr. Coffee took him outside. He's standing next to me. He looks up at me with this look like, you know, I could tell he was trying to say something to me, but I couldn't, like, for some reason my brain wasn't processing. He went over to the door came back to me. Now, when my dogs go to the door, they don't jump on it. They will go to it, look at you to see if you see them looking at it, and then they'll come back over to you. I saw him look at the door. I saw him look at me. But my brain didn't click that, hey, he has to go to the bathroom, because it was so late. Usually that late at night, my dogs don't go to the bathroom. So he decided, since I didn't move, he came back over to where I was standing at and just started peeing on the floor. Luckily, it was like right on the hardwood. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, Killian, no! So, of course, then again, I start chasing him around the house, trying to get a hold of him, because one, I have to get this cream put on him, and two, I was going to put him on the balcony so that he can go pee off the balcony. Now, we're on the first floor, so it's not like he's peeing on anybody, so don't worry. Even though that would be kind of funny to take your dog outside when people are sitting on their porch, and then you just get peed on. Anyways, so I'm sitting there, minding my own crafty business, and I had to, run and take him outside again. This is the second time in an hour that he has, essentially needed to go to the bathroom. So essentially he started Friday night being sick. Saturday was worse. Every time he turned around, he was getting sick. He got sick early that morning at 6:30 in the morning. We put him in his crate. He got sick again at 7:45. I've messaged the vet because I had been up all night. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. The dog is obviously sick. I messaged the vet and I'm like, what do I do? He hasn't, he took his meds and his hot dog like he normally does, but now he's getting sick. And they're like, stop all meds. We need to figure out another course of action, because if this is making him sick, we don't want you to continue, because that could also potentially hurt him. So I was like, all right, well, let's not do that, because, I don't want to hurt my dog. So we stopped all his medication, and then they were like, give it 24 hours for his belly to settle. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, he'll just have to pee a lot like he's been doing. Wrong. Chasing a dog around, getting sick in your house all day, and rushing them outside. Not fun. So that's how I spent my Saturday. And then, of course, Mr. Coffee was at work all day. So it was Saturday, it was me chasing the dog and the kids all day. So I was exhausted. And he comes home and he goes, rough day. I'm like, I can't even tell you how rough today was. Just let me sit here. And he goes, did you happen to clean the dishes in the sink? And I'm like, I gave him this look like, if you don't shut up with me, I'm going to kill you. He's like, oh, I got it. I'm like, thank you. So, yeah, it was a rough weekend, but it's Monday. He is feeling better. He is going to the bathroom normally again. He's not getting sick. He's able to keep down a little bit of food, so that's a plus. The vet will be contacting us again tomorrow to check on him, to see how he's doing, and to figure out what we should do next for the next course of action for him, because we have to make sure he has something supplementing his zinc intake, whether it be a special food or what have you. Yeah, so there was that. Also, I am about had it with my neighbors. If I wake up one more time to them blasting music at 10 a.m., I'm like, there is nothing that you can be doing that you need to be that hyped for at 10 o'clock in the morning. I literally am waking up to, African drums. My upstairs neighbors are African, so, I wake up to, African drums. And usually I don't say anything to my neighbors when it comes to stuff like that. They were smoking weed on the porch when they first moved in, and I did go up there and say something to them then, because Orion is definitely allergic to that type of cigarette or that type of smoke. So I let them know, you can't be doing that garbage on the porch. You can't do it. I will report you to the complex if it happens again. And they didn't do it again. But Orion ended up getting really sick after that, because of the fact that they were smoking it on their porch, and he had his window open. So, of course, then the smell was coming into his room, and he got really sick. So I haven't had any problems with them since then. Until recently, where they feel like every morning at 10 a.m., they need to blast their stereo with their windows and doors wide open. And they just will sit up there and laugh and talk and chill and hang out. And that's fine and gravy. But it's 10 o'clock in the morning. I don't sleep much as it is. And to be woken up by somebody else playing music incredibly loud that early in the morning, yeah, no, that doesn't fly with me. So that's another reason why I've been kind of out of it, I guess. Lack of sleep and caffeine. Speaking of caffeine, I did review that coffee pot. You guys should be seeing that video on Wednesday, I believe. Oh my God, you guys, the coffee pot was so cool. I'm sitting there, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to edit this, because it does take a little bit for the coffee pot to warm up the water. So, there's parts of the video where I'm not talking, and I'm just hurry up, coffee pot. I need coffee. Like, I purposely didn't make coffee that day so I could make it with this coffee pot. You guys, I love this coffee pot. Oh my God, it's so cool. It came in its own little cup. The cup has a freaking handle to it. So like, you'll see, you'll see. So there was that. It's funny because I tricked the kids last night into thinking that they had school today. So I made them go to bed at like normal school time. One, they're homeschooled. So like, yeah. And from what I've been told, more than likely the entire school will be back in doing distance learning before you know it, because they have now 4 confirmed cases of COVID from the school. So yeah, so I made the right choice. It's one of those times where you're just like, I literally was sitting in Maggie's room, and it was the day, like I was telling you guys in live, it was the day that I was trying to teach all the people, which was Friday. It was the day I was trying to teach all the elderly people how to use the internet, because that's a thing. And like, as I'm going insane, I'm thinking to myself, like, you know, and I think this every parent has a moment in their time where they're just like, did I make the right decision for my children by homeschooling them? Like, I'm not smart enough for this. I'm not smarter than a 4th or a 2nd grader. I'm not. And trying to help them do their work, I'm losing Orion's teacher and not having any communication, and just, I'm like, I can't do this. I don't think I made the right decision. I think I need to send them back to school because I can't do this. I'm like, I need a sign that does anybody else ask for a sign that they did something correctly? And the sign comes out and hits you in the middle of the forehead, and you're just like, oh, okay, I'm glad I did that. Well, right as I'm sitting there saying I need a sign that I made a right decision keeping these kids home from school, because at this point I'm about to re-register them back for regular school. Right as I say that, boom, first case of COVID happens, and I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Yeah, like, no, my kids won't be catching the Rona. And it's funny because a lot of, like, where my sister lives and everything, they're not sending the kids back to school. Their kids are all distance learning. Like, they're not even taking the chance of trying to attempt to put them to school. And after Sturgis, where I live is now a hot spot because, of course, all the motorcycle people went down. Nobody wore a mask, no social distancing. They've already had the first death of COVID from the Sturgis rally. And a lot of those people lived in like Montana and North Dakota. So we're becoming a hot spot now because of it. Not that they care, but yeah. So that just means even longer that we're stuck in the house. And I don't mind being stuck in the house. I mean, I do like to go outside, and I feel like some days where I just feel like standing by the window and going, I know why the caged bird sings. COVID is why it sings. And then in my brain, I put up a meme video yesterday from TikTok, and I've been like saying this in my head all month, and I'm like, look here, September, you need to come in and act like you got some goddamn sense, okay? Because I'm not playing this garbage with you that we're gonna have another garbage month. No. It's time for this year to turn itself around so that we can have a good 2021. Y'all, no sooner did I say that, I get a notification on my Echo, which is my Alexa. And essentially, it's telling us that we're in the middle of a frost warning. Now, someone please explain to me, how is it in September, it's 7 days into September, and we're in a frost warning? 7 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just 7 days we're in a frost warning. And all I can think of is last year when we saw snow on Halloween. And I'm like, please, for the love of all that is holy. Fall fell right into winter. It said screw fall. It went summer, winter. Like, what? I had to pull out my big jacket just to take the dogs out this morning because it was so cold you could come in and cut glass with your headlights. Like, it was cold outside, okay? But now Becky will stop fussing at me about wearing sweatpants and snow boots outside to go walk my dogs because it's freaking cold outside. And meanwhile, while everybody else is like, it's 110, it's 105, I'm like, it's like 50 degrees as a high for today. Bite well, Bubbles, okay? Leave me alone with your complaining about the heat because some of us aren't so lucky. And I was talking to my dad yesterday about the weather. And of course, if you guys didn't hear or know, Pawpaw finally made the move to Alabama. So they are officially Alabamians. They are in Alabama. They're enjoying life. They're, you know, doing their whole retirement thing. It's like I said, it's like that game of life where you're teetering on the retirement end of it. And then you finally hit retirement. That's where Pawpaw and Nana are at right now. So they're in retirement in Alabama. And somebody was like, ugh, why does everybody go to Alabama? Okay, one, none of your business is why. Two, my parents went and chose Alabama. One, because my stepmom, was born in Alabama. She was born in Opelika. And two, my dad is a big Alabama fan. Okay? Big Alabama fan. You guys already know. Every time y'all see Pawpaw in live chat on Fridays, he always says Roll Tide. So, Pawpaw is a big Alabama fan. But Pawpaw also made the decision that he wanted to move to Alabama and not Florida. His excuse being he wanted to move to Alabama because all of his friends that he worked with were moving to Florida for retirement, and he didn't want to run into them. So he decided he wanted to move to Alabama. So they moved to Alabama. So that's why, for those folks wondering why did he choose Alabama, because he didn't want to run into his coworkers in Florida, which I thought was pretty funny. So there's that. So it's just been a crazy weekend, and I'm sitting here, and all I can think of is, I'm going to have my heat turned on before the end of the month. My heaters are literally going to be turned on before the end of the month. I don't know how I feel about this. I feel violated by Mother Nature. I feel like Mother Nature hates my life. I feel like Mother Nature just gave me the big finger and was like, yeah, F you and all that you stand for. F you and the horse you rode in here on, it's wintertime, bitch. So, like, I feel like it's almost time for the Ninja Snowflakes to come out. And y'all already know, Miss Coffee ain't down with the Ninja Snowflakes right now, okay? We're not down with the Ninja Snowflakes. So I am going to attempt. Now, I know I see a lot of people commenting and asking, does everybody section off their diamond paintings? Nope, I don't section off my diamond paintings. I did a video on it, but I don't do it. Why? Because I don't know. I'm not organized. I'm not an organized person. Organization gives me hives. So I'm not an organized person, so I don't usually section off my diamond paintings, especially not one this small. Like, this is a tiny painting. It's embarrassing that I'm still working on this for this long. Like, I should not still be working on this, but I was working on, like, Patreon gifts and everything else and getting everybody settled in the Patreon and figuring out what they want as their Patreon gift. Now, to get the Patreon gift, of course, you can't just join Patreon and be like, oh, where's my gift? No. You have to be on Patreon for a little bit before you get a gift. So, for my true Patreon people out there, they got gifts, or they're getting gifts. I'm in the middle of making them, but it's taking me forever and a day because I keep getting sidetracked with everything else. So, like, I plan on having the Patreon gifts out Wednesday this week because that's Mr. Coffee's first day off. And no matter what he says, he's getting up in the morning, he's going to walk the dogs, and he's going to put my new stereo in my car because I'm literally riding in a car with a stereo system missing. It looks like I am robbing myself. Okay, like, I have no radio in my car. It looks like I'm robbing myself. So I'm like, you need to put the radio back in my car. So while he's on his days off, he will be putting the radio back in my car. We need to go through Maggie's room and clean out her toys again because every year we clean out the toys and donate some and get rid of some that don't need to be in there anymore. And so it's time to clean up again. Because her birthday is Saturday. So Maggie's birthday is September 12th. She will be 8. Even though it's hard to believe that she's going to be 8. My littlest child is 8. 2 more years, she'll be 10. I don't know how people handle this. How do you handle your child getting older? Like, I always say this about my dad. I'm like, I don't know how you can watch me as an adult when I was just a little kid yesterday. Like, I feel like yesterday my kids were babies, and now, like, Orion has his little posse of friends on Xbox that he likes to talk to and hang out with, and Maggie just kind of hangs out with me, because none of her and her friends are old enough to have electronics like that. So Maggie just kind of hangs out and chills with me. Like, even right now, she's sitting over there doing her diamond painting. So, yeah, like, I don't know. It's been a weird weekend, and I'm really hoping that the weather doesn't start getting cold already. Like, it's not even like, it's fall temperatures in September. Now, I don't think fall is close by. I think we're supposed to still have a couple of weeks of winter. Or, see, I'm already thinking winter. I'm already having flashbacks, y'all. Y'all help me. Y'all, oh, God, no. Also, real quick, let's go on to the Postal Service thing. So, Tuesday, as you guys know, I had to go pick up my package from the post office. I was mad, okay? I was so mad that they made me drive all the way to the post office. And then because one of the big arguments I had was, how do they know it wasn't going to fit in the box? They didn't even try. Y'all, this box was as big as Maggie. Like, she tried to pick it up and she's like, it's like picking up myself. So I was like, oh, okay, now I can see why they said that it wasn't going to fit in the box. But I'm like, you still could have brought it out there and I could have grabbed it from you. I did also find out that, yes, they are not supposed to hand you your packages. So the fact that they said that, you know, my mailman isn't supposed to hand me my packages, they were telling the truth. But a lot of postal carriers will do that just because, you know, they're nice and they're not douches. Because obviously, what harm can come from handing you a package? It's yours anyways. You're going to get it anyways. Why can't they hand it to you? Especially if you're already outside and they see you and they know you, like Mr. Jerry knows me. He's not going to see me and be like, hey, I'm going to try to shove this package in your box, but as soon as it touches the mailbox, you can get it. So it's just like, God, I can't with this. So, sorry, I'm looking for my next color. So anyways, but I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, well, what do I have to do? And I still didn't find that color. 34. 28. So I was like, all right. And my mailman, he rarely ever takes days off, okay? He's only off like 2 days every couple of months. And it's his choice. It's not like they force him to work that many days. But it's his choice, and he's just like, you know, I'm really sorry I'm off today, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. I just have to, you know, essentially go get my package. 2 days I had to go up to the post office, or the post office that's not close to my house, the one that's furthest away. I had to go to the post office to pick up my stuff because they had stuff for me that was bigger than my mailbox. So I was like, all right, yeah, Mr. Jerry needs to come back. Y'all, let me tell y'all how this went. Mr. Jerry came back Wednesday, okay? And I didn't realize it. My brain, I wasn't thinking about it. I have so much going on at home, I didn't think about it. I get a message that says, hey, I got some packages for you. I'm like, all right, cool. I go outside. Now, all the packages could have fit into my mailbox. But he's like, I'm being petty. Here you go. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you, Mr. Jerry. I'm like, I missed you. And it's like, reunited and it feels so good. Like, I felt like Mr. Jerry had come home after a long, long trip or something. And I was just like, boy, can I tell you how nice it is to know that I don't have to go to the post office after my mail is delivered and go stand in a long line. Because, of course, when we did go to the post office, it was a dry day or something. I don't know what it is, but I don't know if it's anybody else. My allergies, I don't have allergies. My asthma's been acting up, okay? And because it's acting up, I'm coughing a lot more because it feels like something's stuck in my throat. And of course, in the times that we're living in, coughing is not something you want to be doing, because then people are going to look like you. They're going to look at you like you got the plague. And of course, I start coughing in the post office and I see 3 people back away from me and they kind of like look at me like, what the hell? Did she just come in here with the COVID? And I'm like, it's not the Rona. My asthma's acting up. Of course, I have a mask on, so my asthma's acting up. And of course, Maggie and Ryan, and I'm like, you know what? They're going to make me come to the post office. They're going to regret making me come to the post office. I just kind of let them run. Now, that's a bad parent in me, letting my kids run around, tear up stuff. But the good person in me was like, you should have just let the postman deliver my mail and I wouldn't have had to bring my kids up here just to come pick up a box. Anywho. But because they were running around, and like I said, I think it's something in the air, Orion's asthma started acting up. So I had to pull out his inhaler for him to use his inhaler. And I'm like, we have asthma. Please stop looking at me like that. And the guy in front of me is like looking, and he's like got his shirt over his face because he didn't have a mask on. I'm like, well, it's mighty funny how quickly you want a mask now all of a sudden, but you walked up in here mask free, like you are impervious to this pandemic or something. Well, I don't believe in having to wear a mask. I'm like, but it's funny that I coughed and you all of a sudden believed in wearing a mask then, didn't you? So yeah, so like it's been a week, y'all. It has been a week between Killian getting sick, and like I said, he's doing a lot better now. Mr. Coffee's been doing really good at school. He finished his last class with 100. So he's on to his next class, which starts, his next class starts today, which is Monday. So he will be back to essentially working and doing homework. Well, until, there's 34. I'm slow. Until, at least until tomorrow, because Tuesday is his last day of work before his hitch is over. If you don't know what a hitch is, by the way, because I keep saying hitch and people keep asking me what it is. So a hitch is, in the oil field, they call it a hitch, which I know other places call it hitches too. But the oil field is the first place I ever heard the term hitch. Hitch is when they work so many days on and so many days off. So he works 20 days in a row and then has 10 days in a row off. And sorry, Maggie's learning the joys of multi-placing, and her multi-placer won't stay in her pin. But I lost my train of thought while I was doing that. Anywho, so yeah, so it's cold. It's like, even right now, like my little, I have an Echo Show, and it's flashing that there's a frost warning because it's like 50 degrees and the wind is blowing really bad. And I'm thinking to myself, don't make me pull out my long jacket and gloves. I feel like I'm going to have to, like, my high is going to be freaking 50, like, seriously. Anywho. But, oh, okay, that's what I was talking about. I was talking about the post office. Sorry, I'm all over the place, y'all. Again, it's been a crazy week. So, we're in the post office, and the guy, like, you know, freaks out because I'm coughing, and then Orion starts coughing because his asthma starts kicking up because they're running around. And they make us wait in line, and then another lady comes out, and she goes, well, you got a line out here. I guess I can help you out. And she takes us, of course, a year and a day, and she's like, is anybody here to pick up a package? And half the people in the building were, like, raising their hands because there's, like, 17 people in there waiting in line, and they had one cashier going. So I go over and I'm like, yes, I'm waiting for a package. Do you happen, you know, and she's like, well, what's your address? And I tell her what the address is, and she goes, oh, you're one of the people that live in that building. She goes, we've been getting a lot of you guys today. I'm like, well, maybe if you hire a better postal worker that'd be willing to hand packages to people, then you wouldn't have to worry about doing so much work in here, because this is a post office that's not close to my house, and I rarely ever go there. So the fact that I had to go there, I was a little irritated. So I was just like, yeah, can I just get my package? And the package, like I said, it was as big as Maggie. And I finally got it. And then we went to go try to get haircuts. That was the other thing we did. So I go to the hair salon where we usually take Orion to get his haircut. It's called Man Cave. I think I've talked about it before. It's really expensive, but they do good haircuts for Orion. The lady that usually sees him knows exactly what she's doing and how to do Orion's hair like I like it. Well, apparently the lady left when COVID hit because she's from Montana. And she never came back. So I was like, oh, crap. So I was like, all right, that's fine. Somebody else can just cut it, that, you know, no problem. So we sit down, and we were a little early for our appointment. We sit down. Some lady comes up to us like 25 minutes later. I'm not even joking. We sat there for 25 minutes waiting to get his haircut. Some lady comes over and she goes, hi, are you waiting for a haircut? And I'm like, yeah. She goes, and it's for you? Now, this is the Man Cave, so they don't cut women's hair, okay? So first strike, she thought I was a guy. And I'm like, no, I'm not a guy. I'm his mother. And I would like his haircut. And she looks at Orion like he's diseased or something. She goes, oh, ma'am, I hate to say this, but we don't cut his type of hair here. And the blood boiling in my face, I'm pretty sure she could see the hatred in my face. I was getting ready to lash out, and Orion looks at me with these sad puppy dog eyes, and he goes, Mommy, what does she mean? And I'm like, hold on, dude. I'm like, what do you mean you can't cut his hair? She goes, yeah, nobody here knows how to cut ethnic hair. What? So y'all went to beauty school, and they only said, here's how you cut white people hair? And she goes, well, we don't get trained on how to cut hair like that. And I'm like, excuse me? Y'all, I was so mad. So mad. Orion's sitting there sad because he wants his haircut and can't get his haircut because this lady's being rude, and apparently they're not trained to cut his hair, which at least, if nothing else, I appreciate the fact she was at least honest and was like, we don't know how to cut his hair. But I was mad at the fact that they made us sit for 25 minutes before telling us this. I could have went and found somewhere else to get his haircut, which luckily I did. We left there. I stormed out of there. We came home, and I went, and the first thought that came to my head as soon as I was getting ready to back into the garage was the lady at Walmart. There's a lady at Walmart where I live in the place called Smart Style that cuts my hair. So I was like, well, I'm going to call this lady to see if she's available for today. And if she is, we'll take you in to get your hair cut. So I call up to the place and talk to them, and they're like, oh, no, she left when, I'm like, let me guess, she left when COVID hit and never came back. And she goes, how'd you know? I'm like, because that seems to be the theme of this right now, because at this point, again, 2020 is just a huge dumpster fire and it needs to be thrown in the damn trash. And I'm sitting there like, okay, is there anybody there that can cut ethnic hair? And the lady goes, oh yeah, the lady that trained Christine, her name is Lady. And I'm like, her name is what? And they're like, her name is Lady. What do you mean her name is Lady? And she's like, yeah, her name is Lady. She trained Christine how to cut ethnic hair. She does an amazing job. I'm like, okay. And my brain was like, okay, you found somebody who can cut ethnic hair, get everybody's hair cut right now while you have the money, the time, and the energy. So I was like, book her for 3 appointments, please. 1 adult, 2 children. We're on our way. Now, we get there, and the lady at the front desk is sitting there, and she's like, oh, hi, you must be the lady that called in to get the 3 haircuts. I'm like, yes. And Maggie and Orion are just kind of like, you know, they're doing their thing, walking around, whatever. And the lady goes, okay, so I see your son. Who's getting the 3rd haircut? And I'm looking at Maggie, and I'm like, her. She goes, oh, she's your kid? Nope, I just stole her from outside. I saw a little girl outside. She looked really cute, so I was just like, hey, let me grab this kid real quick and get her haircut. I'm like, yeah, that's my daughter. She's like, oh, she's so cute. And of course, you don't say that to Maggie. Maggie immediately turns around with the evil glare smile, and I'm like, we don't really tell her that because now. And then she goes up to the lady and she goes, can I have a lollipop, please? And she goes, oh, after you get your haircut. And she goes, well, I'll be good for my haircut if I get a lollipop. And the lady goes, all right, deal. And I'm like, you have no clue what you just did. She just played you. Literally just played you. You could have just told her that she had to hold on, and I would have reinforced that. But no, you went into the whole, oh, she's cute. You never tell Maggie she's cute, especially when you have something she could potentially want. Never tell her she's cute, because more than likely she's going to get what she wanted. So I'm sitting there, and I'm just like, all right. And the lady comes over, and she goes, I thought I was doing 3 ethnic haircuts. And I'm like, you are? And she's like, she's mixed? I'm like, yeah. Because I'm like, well, what did you think she was? And they goes, oh, my apologies. She goes, I don't want to come off any type of way, but I thought she was Puerto Rican. Now, Maggie gets mistaken for Puerto Rican a lot. I can't say that I don't know why, because she does look Puerto Rican. And how come her hair is like that? I have no clue. She took more after Mr. Coffee than she did me. And like I tell most people, I ran out of curly toner when I was having my kids. So Maggie's the only one that got the nice straight hair that's just a little wavy. Have no clue. Orion has hair like me. Minna has hair like me. But for some reason, Maggie took after her dad. Like, the genes are strong with that one. So I'm just like, I don't know how or why she came out like this. This is just how she came out. Like, I can't change it. So, like, while everybody else has the big, bushy, curly hair, she has straight hair like her dad. Like, not only that, it changes colors. Because, like, Mr. Coffee's hair, Mr. Coffee has dusty brown, like a dark, it's like 3371 in DMC code. But Maggie has like 814, I think. It's like a reddish brown. And so whenever it's summertime, her hair will turn like an auburn red. And then in the winter, it turns like a dark brown. And so people just, again, assume that she's Puerto Rican or something. And I'm like, well, you can speak Spanish to her. She's just going to look at you funny. But no, she's not Puerto Rican. She's black and white. She just happens to have really straight hair somehow. I don't know how this works. I didn't think that was possible, seeing as how the other 2 have really curly hair and she doesn't. But it is what it is. So she's like, oh, well, anybody can cut her hair. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it's just mostly me and my son. But I'm like, I wanted to get Maggie's hair trimmed. And so she goes, oh, okay, well, let's start with the littlest one first. So she starts with Maggie, and Maggie sits in a chair. Now, Maggie has never been in a salon to have a haircut. Maggie's had 1 haircut in her entire life before this day, and it was my friend Heidi. And my friend Heidi did it at her house because she was a hairdresser, and she didn't always, at the time, she was out of work because she had her son and never went back to work. So she cut Maggie's hair for the first time when she gave her first trim. But Maggie hasn't been to a hairstylist since. So Maggie gets up in the chair, and the lady asks, what do I want done? And I'm like, I literally just need a trim on her ends. She needs some of the dead ends cut off, and she shows me how much she's going to cut off. And Maggie's just sitting there, and she goes, I'm getting my hair cut. And the lady goes, yeah, I'm cutting your hair. She goes, I'm getting my hair cut. Now, she wasn't up front with us at first when the first lady gave Maggie the lollipop. She goes, if I'm good, can I get a lollipop? Now, I was editing a video while I'm waiting because, I'm trying to use my time wisely and not, sit there and do nothing for no reason. So, I'm sitting there editing a video, so I didn't hear what Maggie had said, and she asked the lady for a lollipop, and the lady told her, you know, sure, I can give you a lollipop when we're done. So Maggie had literally just finished the one in her mouth, and right as she finishes it, the lady gives her another one, and I'm like, whoa, why, Maggie, why do you have another, is that another lollipop? And she goes, yeah, I was good, so she gave me a lollipop. And I was like, what happened to the first one you had? I ate it. Maggie, we haven't even had dinner yet. It's okay, Mama. I like this better anyways. I can have lollipops for dinner. They're healthy. Now, Maggie's all about healthy. I don't know where or how or why she's a big health nut, but Maggie's a health nut when it comes to things. And if she doesn't want something, she'll use the excuse that it's not healthy and not good for her that she can't have it. I don't know where she gets it from, but that's her argument. It's not healthy for me. I shouldn't have this. And I'm like, it is healthy for you to have vegetables, which usually is not even vegetables that she's doing it with. It's meat. Maggie is not a big meat eater. And I'm like, you need to eat some kind of meat. And she's like, I don't like meat. Meat's not healthy. And it's sad how they get meat. Mommy, did you know that they get meat from hurting animals? And I'm like, they don't really hurt them. She goes, well, I don't know about you, but death hurts. And I'm like, what? Now, Maggie's one of those kids. She was born emo. Like, she's one of those, like, emo kids and a little tiny body. Much rather would wear all black all the time than, you know, whatever. She flips a switch and she'll go from wearing all black to like rainbows. I don't know how it works. I don't judge her. I just let her do what she's gonna do. Which is why a lot of the times when people are like, what is she wearing? She's wearing 7. She's dressed like a 7-year-old. She's 7. I don't know what to tell you. Because Maggie just will, Maggie essentially does what she wants to do as long as she's not hurting herself or anybody. Except for like when she's in school. Now let's get to homeschooling. Now today I was very lucky in the fact that I got another day break from homeschooling. But let me just tell you, I'm not okay with homeschooling. I don't like it at all. It's annoying. It's one of those things I don't want to do. And Orion was fussing. Well, I was fussing because Friday I had been stressed out to the max with Maggie's class because her teacher wasn't in. So like trying to get everything done and help the other parents was stressful. So like I was just sitting here and I needed to make some stuff to send off the gift to the person that won Where Fun Never Ends. And my sister called and asked me to make some masks for her and one of her friends. So I was like, all right, fine. So I was sitting here minding my own business, and Orion comes in and he goes, Mom, are we going to the school soon? And I'm like, why are we going to the school? Well, we gotta go pick up my books. Now, somebody please explain to me why they didn't have me pick up books the first time. I'm like, so does your teacher just hate my life? Does she just like the fact that I have to put on pants to come see her? She figures because she has to wear pants, the whole world has to wear pants. Didn't I just pick up your laptop last week? Why didn't she give me my books or your books last week? Like, why do I have to go pick them up now? Everything inside my head is like make up an excuse as to why you can't get those books and don't go up there. But then I was like, the good parent in me is like, you need to stop being a lazy ass and go get these books. So I went and got the books. His teacher's like, he is an absolute joy. I know. Can I just get his books, please? Look, I'm not trying to be ignorant, but I have on pants right now. Putting on pants gives me so much anxiety. I literally have to have a 10-minute pep talk with myself every time I put on pants because I don't want to put on pants. Like, me and the pants have a whole conversation, and this is how it's going to go. Like, you are going to get on my legs and cover my legs and my butt long enough for me to go out to the store and get what I need and come back, and then you are getting evicted. Like, you're evicted off my legs. Leave me alone. I don't like pants. I don't know why. I don't know when that flip switched, or the switch flipped, but for some reason, I can't with pants. I can't do it. No pants dance all day. Hashtag no pants dance. But I can't with pants. It's not my thing. I gotta drink some coffee. So yeah, so I'm like, your teacher hates my life. Just wants me to put on pants because she has to wear pants. I don't think it's fair. I went up to the school and I'm like, can I ask why the books weren't handed out last week when we picked up the laptops? Oh, well, we didn't have them ready because we weren't sure how many. Oh, I've almost put that back in there. They're like, we weren't sure how many kids were actually going to be attending. They weren't sure how many kids were going to be attending online learning instead of in-person learning. And the school where she has us meet her at isn't their normal school. It's like 15 minutes away. So it's not even like it's something really, really quick. It's just, it was a mess. And I was just like, standing there waiting for the teacher to stop talking to one of the students that happened to show up. And there's always that student that is like a chatty Cathy, and they never stop talking. That's what I was waiting for, and I'm like, please hurry up and finish so I can just grab these books. And then she wants to tell me in a long dissertation form how well of a student Orion is, and I'm like, I am truly honored that you love my son, and he's doing a great job, and you know, all that's wonderful. Can I just get his books, please? I have on pants. Like, I don't think the teacher could see the desperation in my face on how much I hated the fact that I had on pants, but I had to make her very aware, like, look, I'm sure Orion's great for you in class. He's great for all of his teachers. I didn't have that pep talk with her like I normally would because we are not at regular school. So I'm like, you know, look, listen, I get it. You like Orion in your class. That's wonderful. That's great. Can we get his books, please? Because I have on pants, and me and the pants, I need to evict these pants off my legs. I can't do it. I don't know what it is about pants. I just don't like pants. And like, especially right now with jeans, I can't do it. I see people wear jeans, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? What planet do you live on? What planet are you from? Because I can't wear jeans. And I used to have a problem with wearing jeans. I've always had a slight problem with wearing pants. But jeans in particular, I used to wear them when I lived in Pennsylvania, and then we moved here, and it's sweatpants. Sweatpants all day. Why? Because it's always freaking cold. That's why. Sweatpants all day. But that's okay, because I got my heated blanket, and we got the space heater in my room already. Mr. Coffee, I told him that last night, because I walked into our bedroom last night, okay? And Jack Frost was in there having a good old time. And I'm like, excuse me, sir, why is the air conditioner on in our room? He goes, well, I like to sleep cold. All right, well, you know what that means, right? When we sleep in our room, if the air conditioner is on, that means Mr. Coffee gets a human blanket, because I'm freezing my butt off. And if I'm going to freeze, I'm going to freeze wrapped around you like a belt, okay? And so he spends the entire night, like, it's like that, y'all remember Pepe Le Pew, the skunk? And he was always chasing that cat that he thought was a skunk, but she's really a cat. That is what it's like for Mr. Coffee whenever he turns the air conditioner on in our bedroom and it's time to go to bed. I'm Pepe Le Pew, and he's the cat trying to get away. No, it's not happening, but stage 5 cling. I turn into a stage 5 clinger when it's cold out, because I can't, y'all. Pants and outside, I can't. Meanwhile, my dad's like, it's 72 degrees down here in Alabama. And I'm like, ew. Why? And like everybody else, like I don't have the same struggles as everybody else in life. Like, you ever feel like your struggles nobody understands your struggles because nobody has your struggles? Yeah, I feel like that because everybody else is like, oh my God, it's so hot. It's so hot. And I'm like, meanwhile, I'm over here in 2 jackets and wearing gloves going, it's freezing outside today. We're under a frost warning. Like, I'm half tempted to make chili for dinner because it's so flipping cold outside. So, yeah, like, actually now I really want chili. No, I'll make that when Mr. Coffee's home, because then he'll eat it with us. Because I don't like making big meals when it's just the kids and I. Mostly because they won't eat it. Like, it's just not their thing. Like, they don't eat food. It's like they rub it on their face, and they're like, I guess they absorb the nutrients through their skin, because I don't know why it is every time dinner time comes up. Like, one, if they don't like something, they will gang up on me and Mr. Coffee and just revolt against their dinner, and they won't eat it. Even if they ask for it, they'll revolt against it and be like, yeah, we're not eating this. We're just going to play at the table for the next 2 hours. You guys keep doing your thing. We got to a point where we separated them, and then they made up their own little language to talk back and forth so that we couldn't understand what they were saying. And I'm like, why are these kids so smart? Like, I don't understand. Like, at this point, they're smarter than me, but I have to try to hide that because, you know, I got to be gangster for these kids. They need to know who's in charge. In reality, I'm like crying because it's like, why are they making up their own language to talk to each other? Because I know like twins do that, but Maggie and Orion are not twins. They're close in age, but they're not twins. Oh, hold on. I see a tiny human doing something. Sorry, she had a drill spill. So like, I feel like the kids, like when they're together, their minds collide, like their minds combine, and they come up with like the most ingenious of things, which is probably why I don't like them being together too much. Because then especially when Mr. Coffee's not here, I feel like they gang up on me. And like one of them will tell me they want something for dinner, the other one won't like it. And then when dinner comes, the one that said they didn't like it will eat it, and the one that says they wanted it won't. Oh my God, it's so flipping frustrating. And then trying to cook meals for them. So like when Mr. Coffee's gone, I'm like, yeah, we're not having like regular meals. Like we'll have French toast and bacon or pancakes or something like that for dinner. Like we won't have like a regular dinner. And then Mr. Coffee gets mad because he's like, what if I wanted pancakes for dinner? And I'm like, no, you work hard, so you have to have like a really good meal with meat and potatoes and everything else. But when it's just me and the kids, it's like we veg out and just eat the worst garbage ever, because there's no point of cooking a full course meal if when he's not here, because they're not going to eat it. I'm not going to waste food because they're not going to eat it. Like, does anybody else do that with their kids? Like when it's just them and their kid, they don't make regular meals because they know they won't eat it. Now, if it was something like mac and cheese and hot dogs, yeah. And it's funny because I had mentioned to Mr. Coffee about, I'm like, I'm losing the weight now, but I did put on a couple of pounds during quarantine, obviously, because I've been in the house, which that's just my everyday life. That's not even because of quarantine, to be honest with you. That's just everyday life. But now it's worse because I refuse, being a germaphobe in the middle of a pandemic. There's a struggle out here in these streets, okay? Because to you, in your mind, everybody outside has the Rona. This is the longest game of cooties I've ever played in my entire life. Like, does anybody else feel like that? Like this virus is like the longest game of cooties, and you're trying not to tag or to be tagged by anybody. And I'm like, where's home base? I'm done. Like, I am so done. Even though I don't mind being in the house, it's having someone tell me that it's better for me to be in the house than for me to be outside. And then I just can't. I can't. I'm tired of playing cooties. Can we be done with playing cooties now? Can we play house? Can we play house? Like, where we just, do regular household things. I can't clean my house properly. And one of the things I depend on is for the kids to leave the house, especially when the school year hit, because it's the only time that I can fully clean my house to my specifications the way I like to. And I can't do that when the kids are home, because Orion's allergies are really bad, so I can't dust and stuff because it will send him into an asthma attack. I can't, like, I do have stuff that I use this spray. I can't remember what the name of it is off the top of my head, but it's called Indust. It essentially traps the dust in your cloth or your napkin or whatever you're using, so that it's not like floating all back in the air again. I do use that, but even the smell of that will kick up Orion's allergies. So, okay, sorry, there's a tiny human that spilled diamonds everywhere. So I'm not gonna be able to stay on here too long because I'm gonna have to help. But she can struggle for a little bit. She needs to learn the joys of being a crafter. You got to give them those hard knock lessons on crafting. Like, that's parenting done right there. It's funny too, because I just checked my messages. My dad apparently tried to call me because he's at my cousin's house, and she also has a Cricut, and she was making him a mug, and he wanted to call so I could say hi. And I haven't talked to my cousin since her brother died a few years ago, and I was just like, well, when I'm done, I'll let you know. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get going soon. But yeah, like today, working on this as much as I have, like, I've gotten a lot done, and I'm hoping to have this done by either today or tomorrow. I'm tired of looking at it. Next week, I'm going to try to do a coloring chat, because Stitcherista bought me that coloring book, and you guys, that coloring book, it gives me so much life. I do still do adult coloring for those folks that do enjoy adult coloring. I do still do it. I just don't do it on camera as much. It doesn't get a lot of views for some reason. Like, a lot of people do watch it, but it doesn't get a lot of views. And I'm like, I don't want to waste people's time with, content that they don't want to watch. But then there are those few diehard fans that are just like, yes, please. I like the color too, and I'll color right along with you. So I'm going to start trying to incorporate a couple more coloring chats back into my repertoire. Plus, my chameleon markers are calling me. I've been wanting to work with them for the last 2 weeks. And I won't work on them in the book that I got from Stitcherista, but that book I got from Stitcherista, good God, y'all. Good God. Oh crap, I gotta put that video up for today. Yeah, so, like, okay, as you can tell, my brain, you guys. But yeah, I put up a little video on my Instagram, and I want everybody just to know, one, I'm okay. I'm just showing what it's like for me on what I call a bad mental health day. And it kind of explains why I love to do crafting. Because like a lot of people, I use it as a stress reliever. And so that is my brain's process that you see on the screen with all the words, that's what's flooding my brain. And then I start crafting and I can focus on doing one thing, and I'm extremely happy with that. And it helps clear my anxiety. So it was just me showing that that's what my anxiety looks like when I have bad mental health days and with lack of sleep, because the mail system is slowed down. So I don't know about anybody else, but I have what they call a sustainable medication, meaning my medication sustains my life. It's not like life or death. So it just helps me sleep. My insomnia medication that I have to take because after the stroke, I was prescribed, not subscribed. I was prescribed insomnia medication. And it's supposed to help with my blood pressure and my insomnia. And it has been. Problem is, I have been out for 3 days now, which is probably another reason why the weekend was so hectic. So, like, my anxiety's on high right now because of the fact that I don't have my medication. It's been on its way for 10 days. It ships within the U.S., but the mail has been super slow, so I'm still waiting. Luckily, Orion's medication came in a decent amount of time. But for some reason, mine's is taking a year and a day, and I feel like it's on a slow boat. So, like, lack of sleep, of course, increases your anxiety. So I'm just like, I woke up this morning, and everything that I have to do today was flooding my brain. And I'm like, you need to get up, you need to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. And I'm like, thank God Mr. Coffee only has like 2, or today's 1, and tomorrow is 2. He has a couple more days of work, and then he's off for 10 days. Thank God, because I need a break from children and dogs, and I've hand scrubbed my entire carpet because of Killian, and I've been like trying to keep the kids entertained while doing videos and everything else. Like, mama needs a break, and just him like walking the dogs for me is enough of a break where I can sit here and go, okay, I got a break, I'm good. Like, I just wanted to show you guys that you're not alone when you say you have anxiety, and don't think just because I do YouTube that I'm not a normal person with everyday anxieties just like everybody else. I'm just like everybody else. I try to be very transparent with my mental health and how I'm feeling and everything else. Not because I'm looking for sympathy. Because personally, for me, my motto is, if you want sympathy, look in the dictionary between shit and syphilis. That's where you're going to find sympathy. I don't want sympathy. I want to show that, like, I'm like everybody else. I have anxieties. I have worries. I'm a mom. I'm going through it too with this quarantine. So I want to show people that they're not alone in this world when it comes to this. And just because, like, I'm happy when I'm in my videos doesn't mean that behind the scenes everything is all hunky-dory. I mean, my Patreons can tell you that, because they get behind the scenes of vlogs. And in my vlogs, usually it's not as upbeat and happy as my whipping chats and lives are. Now, sometimes I'm pretty sure it probably is when they get to see the kids and stuff. But for the most part, it's just like me living everyday life and expressing to them what's going on for that day and what I've been through and what's going, just the ins and outs of the coffee household. So I just did it so you guys didn't feel like you were alone, because I had one lady that I was talking to, and she said she felt like nobody understood her and what it meant to have anxiety, and everybody in the craft is always so happy because she's in a group, and everybody's always so happy and hunky-dory about crafting and Diamond Art Club and all this, and she goes, but I still feel, I feel like nobody understands that, about my anxiety and stuff, and I'm like, you are not alone in that. I have anxiety, I have worries, I have, same thing that everybody else has. I just happen to have a channel, but I make my channel a happy place for those people that feel like they have nowhere to have, like, a happy place to go to kind of help clear their mind. Like, that's why I do my channel. And I still have anxiety, I still have mental health. It doesn't shut off because I'm making a video. It's still there. And a lot of times what you guys see is me manic. And then after the video goes off, I have to go sit in a corner somewhere and, like, calm myself down because I'm so hyped from making videos. Like, it's ridiculous. So, like, you're not alone in these things. So don't think that you're ever alone, especially if you come to my channel and I'm always happy. It's not always happy sunshines and rainbow farts and unicorns. Like, which, by the way, how cute are these two little minders? They're from Kim's Needle Minders. I'll link them in the description box. But this one says, I'm 99% sure I'm a fluffy unicorn. And this one says, some moms cuss too much. It's me. I'm some moms. So, like, I decided to use those today. I want to make Mr. Coffee a shirt for his birthday. Now, Maggie's birthday is on Saturday. Mr. Coffee's birthday is November 5th. And I want to make him a shirt with that little inappropriate cat on it because that's like his favorite needle minder of mine that I have. And so I want to make him a shirt where the little cat is in the pocket, and then when you pull the pocket down, the little cat flips you off. I want to make him this shirt, but I have to go on the place where I order shirts from and see if they have a black shirt with a pocket, because essentially you just hide it in the pocket and all you can see is the cat's like, okay. So when you put it in the pocket, this is the little cat that I'm talking about. When you put it in the pocket, all you see is this. And then when you pull the pocket down is when you see that. I want to make one of those shirts for Mr. Coffee. So he loves that needle minder. So I'm like, I want to go make him one of those shirts. So yeah. But I think that's it for me today, guys. I'm going to get going so I can go help her make sure she picked up all her diamonds. She looks like she's back to work over there, but I highly doubt that she picked them all up because we all know diamonds hide and reproduce like bunnies. So like 1 minute they're there and the next minute they're gone, and then they come back with full force and there's like 180 of them. So I'm going to go check to make sure she picked up all her diamonds. But thank you guys for listening to my random rambles. I hope you're all having a wonderful, wonderful day. And with that said, if you're new to the channel, sorry, I'm trying to, something was stuck in my hair. If you're new to the channel and would like to see more random crazy videos just like this, please feel free to hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified anytime I randomly decide to put up a video. And believe me, it's random. But with that said, folks, I really must now bid you adieu. But not before reminding you, wash your hands, don't touch your face, keep you 6 feet, and always try to be kind, be courteous,